Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of The Roar, Inside CSUSM Athletics. I'm Tyler Morrison, Assistant Sports Information Director for Cal State San Marcos. Thank you once again for joining us. Hope everyone had a happy and safe holiday season as we now begin 2021. If there's any questions you'd like to submit or a comment, drop us a line at sportsinfo@csusm.edu. We'd love to hear from you. Today, we're talking facilities and operations with Associate Athletic Director for Facilities and Operations, Morod Shah, and Assistant Athletic Director for Operations Fernando Brown. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So I just want to start off, but give us like one interesting fact about yourself.
Who wants to go? Nando, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You got that. Go for. I'll play off you. You go first.
Shoot, I always use the same one. Let me switch it up. Interesting fact about me is that I speak 2.5 languages. So English, Farsi. My dad's from Afghanistan. I speak Farsi, and I'm fluent enough in Spanish so I can call it a half of a language. So.
Interesting fact about me is I don't know how to swim, but I've been out to the Great Barrier Reef.
Wow.
So that was pretty terrifying.
Well, I just want to start off by, give us some background info about yourself and how did you get to CSUSM?
So basically, those that know me, I've been in San Marcos most of my life. Grew up here majority of the time. We moved to Encinitas. I'm originally from Texas, Dallas. Moved here when I was really young, went to school in Encinitas, and then we moved to San Marcos. And then from middle school on, I've been in San Marcos. And then I went through the ranks. So San Marcos High to Palomar, and then I transferred to Cal State San Marcos, and I graduated as a Cougar with a communication degree. And then fast forward several years after that, 2013, there was an opportunity here. I was able to come back, and I'm back at CSUSM now on the other side as an administrator.
My way to San Marcos. Well, I'm from San Diego originally. Went to school in Pacific Beach. Went to Cal State San Marcos from undergrad. Started off as a volunteer for the basketball program about 6 years ago. And that kind of opened the door for me to get in full time.
Nice. Always, we all have our different paths to where we get to, and it's always interesting to hear what those are. So now that you're here at Cal State San Marcos, talk about your everyday role for the athletic department.
I could talk about kind of mine. So as Tyler mentioned, I'm the Associate Director of Athletics for Facilities and Operations. And what that means is that there's a large umbrella, and Fernando will tell you this too, that operations is under and facilities. I originally started as the external operations coordinator, I believe was my title, and I was in charge of all of our game management and promotional stuff and kind of stuff on campus and getting students involved. And now I've kind of morphed into, I was fortunate enough by our Director of Athletics that I was promoted to Associate AD. And so really the bulk of what I do in a non-COVID time is facility maintenance, making sure everything's running properly, things are smooth, operational. I work very closely with Fernando and operations of the Clark Fieldhouse as well. And that goes into game management, that goes into events, all that good stuff. So that's the high level version of what I do. I also work with sports information with Tyler and Mindy. And so it's all kind of, we're one big happy family, and there's a lot of crossover, and there's no set straight, lines of, okay, I do this and you do that. It's all blended as we all know. So.
Yeah, my role, I oversee all the home events. So for all sports, also see all the equipment and the apparel for our athletes and all the camps. So typical week for me is just, kind of outlining all of our home events, making sure that their staff, coaches have what they need, visiting teams have what they need when they come in, and their players as well. And then for our athletes who are playing at home and are training, or I'm sorry, on the road, they also have their uniforms, ready to go to play the game.
And Morod, you alluded to it, with COVID, like how has COVID changed your everyday, role and job? We've been in a virtual setting for nearly a year now. How has that changed for you guys?
Well, it's changed quite a bit because, a lot of what we do requires us to be in person. Facilities, you have to be in person. Things have to get used in order to keep them up and maintain them. And, sprinkler breaks here, or, there's an issue with heating here in that sense. So it's different. So really kind of reinventing our positions to focus on what we can focus. I go into campus as our department essential employee, and I go in and check in on the facilities and meet with our vendors and still check in on that stuff. But a lot of what I do now is virtual. Really shifting the focus to our student athletes. Our department created the CRS program for administrators, and so I'm assigned to men's and women's soccer. So really being there for those student athletes and putting a lot of efforts into those student athletes to make sure that they feel comfortable with this virtual environment, make sure that they feel like they have all the resources and tools to be successful, and at the same time, strategizing and planning on a return to campus, and working with Fernando and working with our sports med team and working with several others to ensure a safe return to campus whenever that may be, hopefully late spring, summer for our employees. And then, hopefully in the fall, we'll be back to in-person operations. But until that time, there's a lot of planning that goes on, and it's changing daily. But I love it. I think with every circumstance and experience, we grow from it. And so this time has given me a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to appreciate being in person, and really appreciate what I do and love it even more. So really that's kind of what my role has been. And then obviously be there for the rest of the department and our team.
What about you, Fernando? Like how's your job changed since COVID hit us?
It's been a drastic change. I mean, 75 to 80% of my job is being on campus and running events and being around our student workers, and having the fall season canceled and the spring season's canceled now. We don't have those events and those times to get together and do what we love. So working from home has been an adjustment. I still go on campus a couple of days a week, or a couple of days a month, I should say, just to inventory some of the shipments that are coming in. But aside from that, I've kind of been reassigned as an academic coach. So I've been working with a lot of the freshmen who are coming in Cal State San Marcos and helping them navigate the campus virtually, and point them in the direction of the right units on campus that can help them as they, progress to their first year of college.
Gotcha. Excellent. So I guess my next question for you both is, how did previous work experiences help prepare you for working with CSUSM Athletics?
Go ahead, Nando. I'll let you take this one.
Well, for me, when I first got involved with sports, or working in sports, I started off at San Diego State as a volunteer for the football department and working with logistics and operations. So that helped me, kind of learn the insights of kind of how a department is ran, and interacting with the coaches and planning and scheduling, and making sure you have all your ducks in a row. So that was kind of like the beginning point for me to help with my experience. And from along the way, I've kind of held some other positions in athletics, both on the student academic support side, and then working with the Cal State San Marcos men's basketball team as the director of basketball operations. So again, just those experiences, I think, helped shape and prepare me for my role that I'm in right now.
Yeah, for me, it was, I graduated from San Marcos, and I was able to obtain an internship for the San Diego Chargers. So I knew that I wasn't good enough to be a professional football player, but I love football, and I wanted to be, involved in some sort of aspect of pro sports. the dream job for me would be to work for the Dallas Cowboys, but that's not ideal. So the next best thing was in our backyard at the time, the San Diego Chargers. So in there, and I worked in public relations, did a lot of media stuff, working with our PR department. There's a lot of external operational stuff as well that go on. It was unique to see that level and that level of operation that goes on, and all the attention to detail that goes on, and little mistakes here and there could be costly, to the overall look and feel of your department and or the organization. So really got exposed early out of college with that professional feel and vibe. And then I after that internship was over, I worked with a company called Integrated Sports Marketing, and we put on a celebrity golf tournament. At the time, it was Drew Brees' celebrity golf tournament. So did a lot of the operational stuff there, did some PR work as well, marketing, that kind of thing. And then I worked for a company called Glasso, which owns Vitamin Water and Smart Water. So did a lot of kind of street scene type marketing, sports marketing, helped put on LeBron James's basketball camp, that kind of thing. So a lot of the different areas, that of what I do now and what I did when I first got to San Marcos was the logistical planning. And it's a funny story. I didn't know if Fernando was going to mention this or not, but so I interned, was it the 2009-10 season? And then the year after that, Fernando was the intern. And every year they choose one intern to kind of stay on, one or two interns to stay on for the full year. And actually that's where Fernando and I first met. And so I was the intern, and then there's the next year was Fernando. And so we kind of hit it off through there. So we had that connection, and full circle now we're both working together at Cal State San Marcos, and both alums. So it's unique and interesting. But yeah, that's kind of my journey. But
and that's one thing I can say, like I was saying before, like we all have different paths, and I think makes us more well-rounded because you have different experiences from different areas of your previous work life outside of CSUSM. So with these jobs come challenges, but there's also rewarding aspects about the job. What challenges do you have, and what things about your job do you find the most rewarding?
I think challenges, I think this is pretty common in all areas, but challenges from a facility standpoint, it's budgetary challenges sometimes, trying to improve our facilities, but knowing that we don't have millions and millions of dollars to do so, like some of these bigger Division I schools or big time donors. The goal is hopefully we get there. But in the meantime, a challenge for me is, okay, how do we improve our facilities, little by little each year without breaking the bank or without, putting our department in big debt. So that's a challenge. Always try to do something for each facility each year just to make it a little bit better than it was the year before. I'm proud to say, after traveling to multiple facilities in our conference, that we have some of the best, if not the best, facilities across the board between our fields, the sports center. Take a lot of pride in that, and it's not just me; it's the folks that's on this podcast. It's our department. It's the leadership of Jen. So that's a challenge. As far as reward, I think the biggest reward for me is just having that impact on the students that work for us and the student athletes. When we put on a show, when Fernando and his team puts on a show and we tell people that, hey, we're trying to give you guys the Division I experience at the D2 level, we mean that. We take pride in that. Every small little detail is covered, and if there's a hiccup, we take pride in minimizing those and trying to fix those. And in the grand scheme of things, it's probably pretty small. But for us perfectionists, and I know Fernando's cut from that same cloth, is the smallest details, if they don't go the way that we had envisioned it or what have you, then that irks us, and we want to be better for the next time. So I think that's the biggest reward, is just having that drive and that goal to provide such a great atmosphere for not only our students, student athletes, and then also our fans and community that are attending. And I feel like for the most part, we've been pretty dang successful doing that. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I think, some of the challenges that we have is, working at a small institution, we don't have some of the amenities that bigger schools have. So, down at soccer, we're running, games on generators and, even at baseball, so those are some of the little challenges, but, when you're working events and operations and planning, there's always things that come up unexpectedly. So you can prepare all you want to, but when you throw in, the unexpected factors and people and fans and things of that nature, there's always going to be something come up on your radar that you didn't expect. It seems like almost every event. So how you respond to those situations, I think, can make or break, people's perceptions of the event or how it's handled, and overall just the experience. So those are little challenges, but again, those are expected, and I think we do a great job of handling them. And the student staff is amazing, as Morod mentioned, and we weren't able to do what we do without the student staff, and just we cannot say enough about them, just about how integral they are to our operation, to our department. Um, so yeah, again, we're thankful for them, and some of the most rewarding parts about their job, again, it's just kind of walking away and knowing that we put on a good show for everyone. The athletes are happy, the coaches are happy, the fans are happy, the students are taking something from it, whether it's professional experience, community, friendships, relationships, and again, just being the best at what we do in the conference.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that when he talks about our student staff. It's really cool to see our student staff. When I first got here, we had a combination of volunteers and interns and independent contractors, and literally, we're at Maricosta College because at the time we didn't have the sports center, and we're looking at the clock, and there's 6 minutes left before the game's supposed to start, and our clock scoreboard operator hasn't shown up. And it's a volunteer, and I give him a call. I'm like, hey, are you here? He's like, oh shoot, I have this group project I have to go to and I have to study for, and I'm not going to be able to do it. This is 6 minutes before the game. And so me and the sports information director at the time were scrambling to find somebody to do this, and I think that game, I think I might have jumped in, or he had done the sports information director had done it. I forget exactly who ended up doing it, but fast forward to where we are now, and Fernando's done a great job of building our staff. It's very similar to building a team. You need parts and it's moving pieces, and there's turnover because kids are graduating and what have you. But the theme has been the same, is that, we're a family, and we try to do the best we can and put on that professional environment. And from that has sprouted relationships within the students that there's guys that are talking about, hey, you guys are going to, you're going to be some of my groomsmen at my wedding. Like, these kids have gotten that close, and some of those experiences that they've had, good and or bad, that they've learned from. And then to see some of our students kind of graduate, go beyond that, and now are working kind of big time, professionals type setting jobs in sports. It's rewarding. It's cool to see. Yeah, those are definitely some good times. But again, we couldn't do anything without our student staff. Tyler, I know you know that, and you've done a great job of kind of building the scores table area. You and Mindy, of starting to train our students and have a pipeline of students coming in, learning sports information, stats, and that kind of thing. And that's huge. That's huge, because it frees everyone else up. And then also putting the trust in those kids, putting this trust in those kids in big situations, in big moments in a game. It can be nerve wracking, in the beginning, because something goes wrong. Everyone's looking at, okay, well, where was the issue? But our students have stepped up. They've done a great job, and I'm proud of them. And I'm looking forward to getting back in person for sure.
I also want, like to add as well, not just our students, but we can't forget our community members as well. So, we have a few of them that help out, with basketball and volleyball, and they do PA for us and stats. And, they're also very important to our team as well. So I just want to also give them a shout out as well.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. They're like, I don't know what we would do without them sometimes. It's, we get in a rough situation, they help us out. So that was actually one of my questions I wanted to ask, is if there's a student watching this or listening to this, how can they get in contact with you about a position for next fall, or whenever we're able to get back on campus?
Well, they can always email us if they're interested. I'm at fbrown@csusm.edu. But there are also jobs posted right now on Handshake on campus. We have an applicant pool for the fall 2021 school year. So we're hoping to be back by then. So go ahead and submit your applications, and we'll be reviewing those resumes.
Excellent.
I got a question. Can I ask a question? Between
Sure,
our three, favorite game management moment or most memorable game management moment for each of you guys? Tyler, I know you haven't been here as long, but I'm sure you probably have something.
Oof. I mean, it's always, I guess the one that comes into my head is, Christy. She had an intern, that played softball, and completely new to us. She helped us out at a baseball game one day, and I need somebody to stat the baseball game. Having never looked at that program in her life, she knew it. She had it down in like 15 minutes, and it's like one of the harder programs to learn. And I was just like blown away. I was by it. Like, you don't expect that from anybody. Like, I don't know if I could even do that. That took me forever to learn. And she just had it like that. And it's an outdated program at that. So that's probably the one that like jumps out to me the most.
It's hard to pick just one, having, ran over 400 and something events, probably in the fives actually.
Oh yeah, probably more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, over the course of 5 years. But I would say two that stand out to me was when we hosted the CCAA basketball championship, ran that tournament. I think it was, it showed what we're about and what we can do. And then also hosting the Cougar Classic, the volleyball tournament for the first time. I think once you're able to run a tournament, I mean, everything else is just, it's cupcake from there. So those two definitely stand out.
Without a hitch too, I might add. No issues, knock on wood, no issues. And we had a lot of positive feedback from both events. Hosting the CCAA tournament, I remember the coaches coming up to Fernando and myself and saying, this is the best well-run tournament that we've ever been to. So that's cool. That's what we pride ourselves in, to be the best. So yeah.
The other one that came out to me was, I think it was, I'm getting my years mixed up now since we've been gone so long.
They all run together.
Yeah. So I think it was this past February when we had softball, track, and baseball going on all at the same time. And from what I heard from everybody, it went off without a hitch. And I think that's just that's who we are as a department, and we get things done when they need to be done.
For sure. I think a big one. This is kind of twofold for me as a facilities guy and then also an operations guy in events. When we did our ribbon cutting of the sports center. So I remember it clear as day. We literally had a tent out front in the sports center and had this great ceremony. There was sage in there in the sports center. Everything was being blessed and everything was good. And then that event ended, and then it literally was like a snap of the fingers. Like, okay, we're done with that event. Straight to a volleyball match, our first ever volleyball match, and it was we're running around in suits and everything like that from the ribbon cutting. Fernando, you remember that? That was crazy. We had a line out the door. We were running out of cash. As far as change goes, we only had big bills. We were running all over the place, with our heads cut off. But it was a great moment. And I remember the night before I was probably on campus in the arena probably till 1 a.m. maybe, just making sure everything was perfect and putting the proper names on the seats and everything like that. And I just sat back and I sat there for about 5 minutes, and I just sat there and said, okay, we're ready. This is the quiet before the storm. And then we just hit the ground running from there. So definitely a memorable moment for sure.
Excellent. Well, last thing I just wanted to ask you guys, outside of work, are there like specific hobbies, or is there something you have a lot of passion for, that you enjoy doing?
Go ahead, Mo.
Well, it used to be playing pickup basketball. That is the one of the first loves of my life. And just injury, getting a little older, can't do it like I used to, but now it's definitely golf as far as a hobby or sport to play. Love it. I'm not very good at it, but I can swing it from time to time, but it's just good to get out, be outside, hang out with family, friends out on the course for 4.5 hours or so. And then outside of that is just family time, taking care of the kids, watching them grow. This time of COVID has been the silver lining is just being around these kids and seeing them grow up right in front of my eyes. It's time that I normally would be in person at work. So really thankful for that piece of it. But golf is really the only hobby that I really do. That and just trying to stay in shape a little bit here and there.
Yeah, I would say mine is definitely staying in shape. Those who know me, I live in the gym. I miss the gym right now because of COVID. That's where I recharge. That's where I kind of go to escape all the day-to-day grind. So that's, I would say, my main hobby, if you can call it a hobby. And then, being a father, I have a quarantine baby. She was born in June. So, being a father now is definitely, I would say the thing that is the most rewarding.
How's that sleep going for you, Nando?
It's going great. Thank you. She's actually sleeping in her own crib right now. Got 12 hours last night, so we're doing good.
That's a game changer.
Well, that is all I had for you guys today. Thanks again for, talking to us. It's always great to, hear how other people in our department are doing and, what they're up to as of late. And once again, if you'd like to submit a question or make a comment on the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Just email us at sportsinfo@csusm.edu. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on The Roar.
See you guys. Go Cougars.